Here's what you need to know before you dive into A4. Alright, first question. Notice that both of the fractions have the same denominator of 5. This makes it really straightforward. All we need to do is subtract the numerators, so 3 minus 1 is 2, and we keep our denominator the same. So our answer is 2/5. Once again, we have two of the same denominators, so we can just focus on the numerators. And since our numerators have the same sign, we're effectively adding them. So -3 plus -3 is -6. Just like the last question, we have two of the same denominators, so we can turn our focus to the numerators. We have -9 minus -3. Whenever you see minus negative, just think of it as plus. So we have a -9 and a +3, which together makes -6, and we keep our denominator the same, so our answer is -6/10. In this question, notice that we have two different denominators, and remember that you can't add or subtract unless the denominators are the same. So instead, we need to find equivalent fractions. To do this, we start by listing out the multiples of each of our denominators, and we look for the smallest one that they have in common. In this case, our least common multiple is 10, so our two new fractions will have a denominator of 10. Since 10 times 1 is 10, our first fraction can stay the same. However, since 5 times 2 makes 10, we need to multiply both the top and the bottom of our second fraction by 2 to make an equivalent fraction that has 10 in the denominator. So 4 times 2 makes 8, 5 times 2 makes 10, so our equivalent fraction is 8/10. Now we can solve. 7/10 minus 8/10 is -1/10. Next question, how can you support this channel to continue making videos? Well, this one's pretty straightforward. You just need to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. In this next question, we again have two different denominators, meaning we can't add or subtract without finding equivalent fractions first. So step 1 is we list all the multiples of each of the denominators, and we find the smallest number that they have in common. In this case, that's 10. For the first fraction, 10 times 1 is 10, so 9 times 1 is 9. However, for the second fraction, 2 times 5 makes 10. So we need to multiply the top and bottom by 5 to make a new equivalent fraction. 1 times 5 makes 5, 2 times 5 makes 10, so our new fraction is 5/10. And now we can solve. 9/10 minus 5/10 is 4/10. In this next question, we once again have two fractions with different denominators. So step 1 is we list out all of our multiples of 2 and 5, and we see that they have a common multiple of 10. So our new equivalent fractions will both have denominators of 10. Since 2 times 5 makes 10, we need to multiply the top and bottom of 1/2 to make our new fraction of 5/10. And for our second fraction, since 5 times 2 makes 10, we have to multiply the top and bottom of 4/5 by 2 to make 8/10. And lastly, we can solve. 5/10 plus 8/10 equals 13/10. In this next question, we have two mixed numbers. With these types of questions, I like to ignore the whole numbers until the end and use the same methods that we were just using. So first, we list our multiples of our denominators 10 and 2, and we find that our least common multiple is 10. Since our first fraction already has a 10 in the denominator, it will stay as 3/10. But since 2 times 5 makes 10, we need to multiply the top and bottom of 1/2 by 5 to make 5/10. Now we can reinsert our whole numbers and solve, starting with the fractions. 3/10 plus 5/10 equals 8/10. And 4 plus 6 equals 10, so our final answer is 10 and 8/10. In this next question, we once again have two mixed numbers, except this time they both have the same denominators, so we can add straight across without converting to any equivalent fractions. And note that both of these mixed numbers are negative, so we're just finding the sum. Starting with the fractions, 9 plus 1 is 10, so we have 10/10. And now for the whole numbers, we have 3 plus 8 makes 11. So that gives us -11 and 10/10. However, we can't leave our answer as 10/10 since that's equivalent to 1 whole. So we just add 1 to 11 to get -12. Next, we're combining a fraction with a whole number. And since our fraction can only add or subtract with a fraction that has the same denominator, we need to change our whole number into a fraction. To do this, let's first write 8 as a fraction in the form of 8/1. Now, since we need it to have a denominator of 5, we'll have to multiply both the top and the bottom by 5. So 8 times 5 gives us 40, and 1 times 5 is 5. So 40/5 is the same as 8. So when we substitute that back in, we can combine. -3 plus -40 makes -43. So our answer is -43/5. Next, we have another whole number being combined with a fraction. So just like before, I need to change my 7 into a fraction that has 2 in the denominator. So if I write this as 7 over 1 and multiply both the top and the bottom by 2, I get 14 over 2. So if I plug that in place of 7, I now have negative 14 halves minus negative 1 half. And remember, minus negative can be changed into plus. So with that being said, negative 14 plus 1 is negative 13 halves. Now for the decimals in this section, you could just enter them into your calculator, but I would encourage you to practice showing your work. So with this question, immediately since I noticed there's a minus negative, I'm going to change that to plus, and then I'm going to stack them with the larger number on top. Now since these have two different signs, I know I'm going to be subtracting my two numbers, and since the larger of the two numbers is the negative, my answer will be negative. So starting from our right column, we have 2 minus 5. Can't do that, so we borrow from the 5 to make it a 4, and we make the 2 a 12. So now we have 12 minus 5 gives us 7. And in our left column, we have 4 minus 1 is 3. So our final answer is negative 3.7. Next, we have another question that has a minus negative. So right away, I'm going to change that to a plus. And then I'm going to stack my numbers with the larger number on top. Now, once again, we have a negative and a positive number, so we know we will be subtracting, except this time our answer will be positive because the larger of the two numbers is the positive number. So first we do 5 minus 8, can't do that, so we have to borrow from the 9, make it an 8, 5 becomes 15, 15 minus 8 is 7, and then 8 minus 8 is 0, so our final answer is 0.7. And in this next question, we once again have a minus negative, so let's quickly make that a plus. Stack our numbers, and note that again, since we have a negative and a positive, we will be subtracting, and since the larger one is negative, our answer will also be negative. 5 minus 4 is 1, and 8 minus 1 is 7, so our answer is negative 7.1. That's all I've got for this lesson, but if you want to see more videos just like this, you should check out the Algebra 1 IXL playlist right here. This is Mr. Leo with Epic Math. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.